Hi guys, and welcome back to World of Tanks, and it's another random destruction, and it's a Sunday, and we're in the KV, well, the captured KV1, should I say, tier 5 match, and it's Winter Himmelsdorf, and it's a standard battle. Now, no video on Friday, I'm sorry about that. I woke up Friday morning with quite a bad cold and sore throat, and you can probably hear now I'm still quite bunged up. My sore throat is actually gone now, but it was really quite difficult for me to talk, and obviously you can understand that makes doing this very, very difficult. So I do apologise for that. And it was going to be a battlefield video because I'd not done one this week, but that'll be coming on next week now, so I do apologise to those of you that like the battlefield videos. Now back to this, in the captured KV1, like I said, quick rundown of it. It's got the 57mm gun, 26 rounds a minute, 112 pen, 85 average damage, 110 all round on the turret, and the hull is 75 on the front and sides and 70 on the rear. And this one's from a few days ago, and I've put it on really to show how much of a beast the KV1 can be when it's top tier on a city map like this, where view range can be almost eliminated as a sort of factor, because that's one of the things that really lets the KV down is the view range. You know, it's a typical thing with the Russians. The view range is really quite poor. But on a city map with the streets like this, it can kind of eliminate that handicap because of how it's laid out. You know, by the time you come across the enemies, you can see them, they can see you. They can't see you from across a field outside of your view range, for instance. You know, and that's it's really the sort of KVs and a lot of the Russian tanks. You know, it counts for them as well. Until you get to the higher tiers, which do have better view ranges. You know, city maps are their sort of stomping ground because it eliminates that handicap for them, and a lot of them are very good at side scraping as well. Now, can I get this Su-85B? 1, 2. Now, the aim time on the KV1, and I've got a gun lane drive on it as well, and I think I've got vents, and I suppose I could get a good crew in it with like Brothers in Arms maybe, but I'm training up a crew in it at the minute. But the aim time isn't as fast as the reload, which sometimes can be a bit frustrating, because if you just hold your finger on the trigger, the sights haven't actually settled down properly before the next shot goes out, and it, you know, more often than not, it ends up going wide. So sometimes when you're at a bit of range, close up, it doesn't really matter. Like here with this guy, it doesn't really matter. I can just keep my finger on the trigger, boom, boom, you're dead. But when you've got a bit of range on it, it can kind of eliminate that rate of fire somewhat. It kind of knocks it down unless you're willing to miss a lot of your shots. But you know, apart from that, I quite like this gun. It does work. Yeah, it works. It's got decent pen, and you know, even though it's really quite low damage, the rate of fire does make up for that. Now I've gone down one end of the street, coming back the other. There's a Grant down at the end. I actually thought it was possibly AFP or AFK, whichever you prefer, but it turns out it wasn't. And the way it's tracked, I don't think it can actually quite get a shot at me. And that's him done. And that just shows you again the rate of fire of this thing. And I've barely taken any damage. I think what I have might have been from HE. And I was trying to track, well actually, I'd not noticed how much health it got. I was going for the tracking shot, but that would have killed him. And if I can just get round the corner, I should be able to finish him off. There he is, and yeah, he's done. And now there's just one heavy left, and Artie's up on the hill, and I think the heavy's up there somewhere. In fact, yeah, there he is. And I was going to go down the street and along the hill up that way, and I think, if I remember rightly, I actually changed my mind and turn around and come back and go up the Dogleg street instead. Yeah, there we go. I thought I did. Now, some of you have been asking, for those of you that don't already know, I have chosen USA for my side in the Tank Bowl. And I think somebody asked if I was going to be getting the Ram Panzer, the Panzer 5-4, and indeed I did. I'd got a couple of tanks in the bundle, but I've ended up with that and the Panzer 4S, and yeah, it still ended up cheaper, and I kept the you keep the garage slots as well, so yeah, it worked out. I saved about another 600 gold there as well, so yeah, it did work out cheaper, so I have picked that one up. In fact, there's a Ram Panzer video at the end of this episode, so I do like that tank. It is very good. Well, it's very good fun. It does have its downsides, obviously, but yeah, it is definitely good fun. Now we've got the the enemy KV-1. What's he armed with? Oh, it looks like the, is it 75mm it gets, or is it an 86? I can never remember with the KV-1. I think it's a 75 possibly, or a 76. And that's him done. My rate of fire wins out, and I ended up barely taking any damage the whole match. And again, it just shows you what a beast the KV-1 and the captured KV-1 in turn can be when it is top tier. Came out of that with well, 7 killed, high caliber, and 1,605 damage, which for a gun that does an average of 85 per shot is not too bad. And I got Top Gun as well. Did I mention that already? 75,000 silver, and it put me at the top of the table with nearly double the nearest damage on my team. So yeah, quite happy with that match. I do like the captured KV-1, and I do use it as a German crew trainer. In fact, I tend to use that, I think, more than any of my other German crew trainers at the minute, although the Ram Panzer might take over because I am having a lot of fun in that. Now here we are for the second replay. I'm in the Chinese tier 8 heavy, the 110, and it's a tier 10 match and a standard battle. And this is one of the last matches I've actually played in this. I've moved on now. I've got the WZ11114. I've not got it fully upgraded yet. I'm actually using the same gun as this, which is a 100mm with, well, it's 6 rounds a minute on the 110. It's slightly faster on the WZ111. But on this 6 rounds a minute, 215 pen and 320 damage. And the turret's 201, 148 and 50, and that's sort of front, sides and rear. And the hull is 120 on the front, 90 on the side and 60 on the rear. And I've said before, I do prefer this to the Russian IS-3, and I'm not saying the IS-3 is a bad tank, because it isn't. I just prefer this. I just prefer the upper glacis. The pike nose on it is better. You can bounce more shots from it, even though the turret doesn't have as good physical thickness on the front. It's not got the weak spot, the 20mm plate just behind the gun on the top of the turret. That's not there, so that's got it going for it. And even though it's slightly less penetration and 70 less average damage, you know, the rate of fire does make up for that, and I think it's got better accuracy and aiming time as well, possibly, than the BL9, although I could be slightly wrong on that one. But I did end up preferring this. You know, it does have features that aren't quite as good, you know, as the IS-3. It doesn't have the spaced armour down the sides, and it is a slightly taller machine as well, and like I say, it's slightly thinner, physically thinner frontal armour on the turret as well. But no, I do really like it, in fact, and I've actually kept it. I've not sold it yet. I'd earned enough to get the WZ111. I have put the crew from this in that, and I am training up a new crew for this. But I did need to sell the equipment off it, so it's going to sit in my garage for a little while I build my silver reserves back up to re-equip it, and while I build the crew up as well. And playing it cautious, really. It's a tier 10 match after all, so you know it's got a good, it's got a good frontal upper glacis. However, against tier 10s up close, not so much. Against tier 10s, you want to try and give yourself a bit of range, try and hide that lower glacis as well. It is very well angled, but you do obviously want to try and hide it as much as possible. And if you do come up against one of these things where you've got your commander's hatches on the top of the turret, obviously you've got the lower glacis if you can get to it, and if you can, and if you're maybe close enough, where the driver's hatch is, just on the join of the two upper glacis plates that runs up the middle. You've got the driver's viewport just at the back, and you've got like a small, slightly flatter triangular area, and that is thinner than the rest of the hull as well, so that's somewhere to possibly try and aim for. It's a small target, but it's there. Now, like I said, I've been playing it cautiously. The team has spread actually quite well, and I'm trying to get up here carefully. I was being cautious because I suspected there could be somebody sat over here, so I didn't go tearing up. I just sort of poked up, and let's see if I can get a shot on this. No, just missed, but he bounced, so that's quite nice. And I'm going to reload hopefully before he gets around that corner. Yep, there we go. Now there is an ammo rack just to the left, I think it is, of where I hit, or it might have been that angle bit. Now while he's backing off and reloading, I can put a hit into the back of the 4502B. Didn't quite put enough to, do enough damage to kill him. But I've just got to keep an eye on them now. I have attracted their attention, and I'm just keeping an eye out for that ISU 152, and I'm going to try and see if I can help these guys out up here, and that'll allow them to push down that airfield a bit more. Alright, hopefully it's popped up, but I can get up here before he actually puts a shot into me. Yes, I can, although I take a hit from the T110E5. The 4502B, he's off down there somewhere. Can I get through his lower plate? I can. Luckily, that was 50-50 that, but it luckily went through. Oh, T49, do not want to get a hit from him through the side, and luckily he missed, but I didn't. Although I did get a slightly low roll. And oh, the ISU 152 bounced again, and I'm going for that ammo rack location, and I'm not sure I'm actually going for the right location now. And I am getting fed up of having to pause this to cough and clear my throat, but I'd rather do that than subject you guys to it. Oh, the T49 is having another go, and he missed again. And he gets on my nerves slightly, and I missed the 152. Although I didn't miss the IS-3, I did actually forget to mention that. That was a very lucky sort of just lock on and fire and hope for the best. That's taken him out, and I'm just going to see if I can get him. No, not quite. Where's he going? Can I get him up here? Possibly, if I aim. Oh, that was cheeky of me. I just did a quick lock on again. I actually thought I might get up that bit, and I might have done had I kept my speed, but I slowed down at the last second. Now, right behind me on the map, a heavy's just popped up. He's occupied. Near the enemy cap there is an M103, and I did look over there and I didn't see him. I actually thought he was occupied with the tank destroyer and the medium and the heavy down in the south. However, the T49 manages to track me, and then the M103 makes himself known by putting one through my side. And I've known, well, this is the point where I realise I'm in trouble, and I've basically let that light tank annoy me and become a bit fixated with going after him, and he manages to kill me in the end. But that's what happens. It happens. But I had a good game up to that point, and I enjoyed it. Came out of that with just a shade over 3,000 damage, 2,100 blocked. Not much money, because it was a defeat, unfortunately. But I did go top of the table in a tier 10 match with 3 kills, so I was more than happy with that. I always find it quite difficult sometimes when I'm a tier 8 and a tier 10 to come sort of maybe in the top third of the table, so it is always very nice when you do manage to come top. Anyway, here we are for the last of the replays, and as promised, it's the Panzer 5-4, otherwise known as the Ram Panzer. And very basically, what this is, it's the hull and engine from the Panther up at tier 7. So it's an 870 horsepower engine. It's got a very power to weight ratio. With the turret, well, basically, it's the same turret that you get on the Panzer 4H, but without the It's just missing a couple of the side plates there off the turret, but essentially that's what it is, same armour, etc. And that's what you've got, and you've got that 75 millimeter gun, the 7.5 centimeter, 14 rounds a minute, 110 damage, 110 penetration. It's the KWK-40 L48. You've got turret armour 50 on the front, 30 on the sides and rear, but your hull armour is really quite good. 85 on the front, and then 40 on the sides and 40 on the rear. So your side armour's not quite the same as the Panther up at tier 7, but you do have the same frontal armour. But that sort of reduction in armour, and obviously the reduction in the turret armour, makes you a hell of a lot faster. So it does zip, well yeah, it zips along 55 km/h speed limit, and it does see up to tier 7. It is a tier 5. Well, that's what it says anyway. Actually, for some reason, I thought it had preferential matchmaking, but I think I might be wrong on that, but I'll have to check. And I will probably be reviewing this at some point over the next week. Now, it does have fairly good gun depression. I think it might be 8 degrees, if I remember rightly. However, as with a lot of tanks, with this hull, it's not over the front. It is over the sides, but not over the front, so you do have to account for that when you're using this. But it is nicknamed the Ram Panzer, and there's a reason for that, because it's you know, it's a big hull, it can get up some speed, and it's got good frontal armour, and it does this. 220 ram damage, and I'm a tier 5 medium, he's a tier 5 medium, and he really just looked quite shocked there, if a tank can look shocked. And now, because of the angle and how I'm popping out from around here, I've got slightly more gun depression because it's just over the corner, and I've just broken his engine and he's done for. Oh, I never said what it was. Tier 5 match, by the way, and it's South Coast Standard Battle. There you go. Now, I'm going to try to avoid the cap circle, because then it's not going to alert anybody to the fact that I'm coming round this way. Oh, and I can feel my voice. There you go. I was just about to say I can feel my voice going, and then it did. Now, as I was coming around over there, I have been seen. There's an OI experimental, and luckily they're not as tough as the OIs. They've only got 75 millibomb on the front, I think. Possibly, is it 70 on the sides, or is it less on the sides? I can't remember now. But I've got his side anyway. And before I can get another hit in, he's taken out by hail of fire. Now we've got a Churchill 3. And if I remember rightly, oh, I've got his back, and that's his engine damaged. He can get his gun down to shoot at me. I just need to angle better, which I have, but now I can't get my gun down to shoot at him, so I'm going to have to move. And he tracks me, but I can get my gun down. And that's him done. And now it's 10-9 in our favour. Get my tracks back up, and I see another ram opportunity, and it is very hard not to just drive around trying to ram everything that you see in this. But I'm going for that M5 Stuart. I just hope I can get there before anybody kills him. I'm going to do it. I'm going to get there. Yes, he's going to... Oh, how disappointing. Anyway, right. See if there's anybody else to ram. No, Su-76. One, and he's done. And now it just feels a bit like a clean-up with these poor tier 3s just left on their own. I've got a medium tank down here, and he's done as well. Although I didn't actually notice at the time. Yeah, bit derpy. I thought he'd just popped off radar, and I was just checking what was left, and it's a KV-1S, and yeah, he's not there. I did think that possibly he could be around here. I'd just not noticed on the map when he last popped up, so yeah. I was too busy trying to ram things and lost my train of thought. But somebody's marked him for down here, so let's go and have a look. He's not on the beach. I'm going to go further down that way. And if he's not down there... Oh, no, there he is. I was going to say, if he's not down there, I'll just turn around and zip straight back up the beach. It's just a case of, are we going to get there? No, we've capped out. And he survived. And there we go. A nice little victory. I really like the Ram Panzer. It's really, really good fun. And when it's top tier like that, it is an absolute beast of a medium. So I came out with a daily double of 5,236, 1894 damage, a little bit of blocked, and a high caliber. So I was quite happy with that, and I've been having a lot of fun in it. But there you go, another random destruction. I hope you've enjoyed tonight's episode, and I hope you found it entertaining as well. And I'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully my throat will be healed a little bit more, and I won't have to keep pausing it all the time. But until then, in fact, it might be a world of fail tomorrow. But anyway, until then, take care out there, and I'll catch you next time. See you later.